Yeah, I definitely think UFO and alien crashes have been happening for decades. And that the U.S. military's been covering it up, and the U.S. military's been covering it up the U.S. military's been covering it up for the longest time, yeah. Yeah. I think the U.S. military's been covering it up for the longest time. There's just no doubt in my mind. The U.S. military's been covering it up for years. Yeah. I definitely believe there's been a cover-up for years. I definitely...
Came out and there was another one directly behind us.
On a quiet morning in May of 2008, something crashes in the desert outside of Needles, California. Multiple witnesses watch as a turquoise blue object is carried away by military helicopters. But there's more to the story, and it may be the key to understanding what's going on. All of this has happened before. In July 1947, another desert crash brings the small town of Roswell, New Mexico to worldwide attention. The military's announcement that they have recovered a flying disc shocks the world. Allegedly, the nearby Army airfield sends personnel to clean up the crash site and instructs workers to leave no evidence behind. Days later, the military changes its story, attributing the crash to a weather balloon.
I don't believe that.
Now, in Needles, the team has located a key eyewitness who agrees to speak with the investigation on one condition: that his real name not be used. The witness, known only as Bob, arranges a meeting on the Colorado River, near where he saw the object on May 14th.
As I was sitting on the boat fishing at 3 o'clock in the morning, and the whole front of the boat, I looked up and I saw a bright turquoise blue something falling out of the sky.
Wow.
It came straight across from one side to the other, and it hit. It just kind of made a thump.
Where did it impact?
Just west of my position, maybe 200 yards from my boat, in between the railroad tracks and the river.
Bob claims that within 15 minutes, military helicopters appeared.
And almost immediately after the first helicopter showed up, there was a second and then a third. And that's when the big one came overhead. That thing circled over my boat, went to the site, dropped out of sight for a few moments, and the next thing I know, it was up and flying.
Bob not only sees the armada of helicopters arrive, but their return trip with the alleged UFO in tow.
Did you see the object being lifted on the sky car?
Yes, sir. That's where I saw the shape. Not only was it well lit by the other helicopters, they were shining their lights on it. It was still very hot.
Both Bob and Frank Costigan's testimony say that the object may be in the area of the desert closest to the river. The investigation sets off.
See, that's what I'm starting to think. Is whatever this thing was, this thing had some kind of like a controlled flight.
An indication of an impact of the size that Bob talked about. There should be some displacement of soil marked by a change in the sand, change in the
See, I'm convinced whatever this thing was that crashed in May of 2008. That crashed in May of 2008. Like, I'm convinced whatever the hell this thing was, it was under some kind of
But
intelligent
finding
control.
the actual site will prove difficult. Thick desert sagebrush blankets this entire area. The sagebrush will make an impact site hard to spot.
So what I'm saying, bro, is like, what if it was like some kind of like,
An eye in the sky.
what if it was like, say like, what if it was like,
The ultralight will be rigged with a high-definition camera. As it searches from the air, Pat and Garth will follow on land, looking for any trace signs near the river.
what if this thing wasn't even like an aircraft at all, but like something entirely
Now, and
different?
we'll call in the ultralight. They can help us from the air see anything that might be on the ground to be invisible to us.
We'll get you in the general area.
Yeah, but what if this thing wasn't even like it wasn't even like an alien, wasn't even like an alien craft, wasn't even like an alien craft, wasn't even like an aircraft, wasn't even like a civilian or military aircraft. What if it was like, you know, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like, what if it was like, you know, what if
He
it was
recognizes
like,
landmarks, power lines, and a bend in the river up ahead.
what if it was like, you
I see
know,
the train trestle
like
there, so you're sure that this
something
side is
extraterrestrial, yeah. Yeah, what if it was like something extraterrestrial, yeah. I mean, all I'm saying is like, what if it was like something extraterrestrial? What if it was something extraterrestrial and something the government doesn't want us to know about?
After a few passes, the ultralight hits pay dirt.
Our pilot Glenn did say there was a burned area south of here. Now that sort of corresponds with what you saw, right?
Well,
That's correct.
it's the only thing I can think of is that it was something not made here on Earth, is that it was something made on another planet.
If we do S transects, walking in an S, lazy S sort of pattern, and teams of 2, 20 to 30 meters apart, we'll cover a lot of ground pretty quickly.
So why don't you guys start there? We'll start there and cross paths.
I mean, Little Critter has always told me that, like, Little Critter has always believed that some UFO crashes, that the majority of UFO crashes are not
Before they get to the burn site,
made here on, are not
Ted and Bill find
man-made.
another possible sign of a crash.
Over there.
Check it
I
out.
mean, Little Critter says that some UFO crashes, like, Little Critter says that has always told me that, like, the majority of all UFO crashes, except for Kecksburg, we're all man-made, we're all otherworldly. Now, Little Critter has told me that the Kecksburg UFO.
A bit of a horseshoe.
Now, Little Critter has told me that the Kecksburg UFO incident was something man-made. Now, you probably remember me talking about the Nazi Die Glocke, right? The Nazi Die Glocke, right? That Nazi, the German anti-gravity device that is rumored to have been tested during the closing days of World War II. Well, Little Critter has basically told me that the German Die Glocke is basically what was recovered at Kecksburg in December 1965. Because Little Critter has studied the similarities between the Kecksburg object and the German Die Glocke, and he's noticed stunning similarities. He's noticed stunning similarities between the Nazi Die Glocke, and the Nazi Die Glocke and the Kecksburg object, and Little Critter now is more convinced than ever that what actually crashed at Kecksburg in December 1965 was not a UFO, but was actually the German Die Glocke, the mysterious and elusive Die Glocke that Nazi Germany was rumored to have worked on in the last year or two of World War II, the last 2 or so years of World War II. And that basically the Die Glocke, developed by Nazi Germany, is what actually crashed outside Kecksburg in December of 1965, because Little Critters has literally looked at all the witness statements. Like, Little Critter said that, Little Critter has, compared all the the Kecksburg UFO witness statements to that of the Nazi Germany Die Glocke, and he's found stunning similarities, and Little Critter believes that the Nazi Die Glocke is what actually crashed in outside Kecksburg, Pennsylvania in December of 1965. Yeah. I mean, Little Critter is more convinced than ever that what actually crashed at Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, outside Kecksburg, Pennsylvania in 1965 was the elusive German Die Glocke that disappeared at the end of the war, that disappeared at the end of World War II. Yeah, Little Critter says he's more convinced of that. He's more convinced of it now, because because he's literally read all of the eyewitness statements, and he's compared them to descriptions of the Nazi Die Glocke, and he's literally compared them to that of the Nazi Die Glocke, and he's found stunning similarities. And now he's more convinced than ever that what actually crashed outside Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, that's what Little Critter see the similarities between the Nazi Die Glocke. That's why Little Critter now believes that it was the Nazi Die Glocke that crashed outside Kecksburg, Pennsylvania in December of 1965. And I also believe that as well. In fact, I know for a fact, without a shadow of doubt in my mind, that the Nazi Die Glocke crashed outside Kecksburg, Pennsylvania in 1965. Yeah. Yeah. See the similarities between the sees the similarities to the Nazi Die Glocke. That's why I believe whatever that is, that's the Nazi Die Glocke. See, that's why I believe that's the Nazi Die Glocke. It was from here. It was the Nazi Die Glocke. Yeah. Yeah, because like Little Critter says he's also studied cases of the Men in Black. He's also studied cases of the Men in Black as well. And the Men in Black are very infamous. Little Critter says the Men in Black are also very infamous because they're basically these guys in like black blazers, kind of like the ones I have. They're basically these guys in like black blazers, white dress shirts, black ties, black dress plants, black dress shoes, and black sunglasses and black fedora style hats that allegedly intimidate and harass UFO witnesses. And these guys, these people, whoever they are, they allegedly harass and intimidate UFO witnesses into silence. They allegedly harass and intimidate UFO witnesses into silence. And it's what Little Critter's learned, yeah, is that supposedly these Men in Black, whoever they are, they harass and intimidate UFO witnesses into silence. Yeah, and supposedly people who have witnessed the Men in Black are very frightened. Like Little Critter says he's supposedly interviewed. He says he supposedly interviewed. Like countless people. He supposedly interviewed countless Men in Black, countless eyewitnesses to the Men in Black. And he's even studied the case of Indrid Cold. In fact, just before her death, Little Critter even interviewed Woody Derenberger's daughter, Tanya Derenberger Bowman. Little Critter also, just before her death, Little Critter also did a YouTube podcast episode where he interviewed where he interviewed the daughter of Woody Derenberger, who actually had an encounter with a man in black named Indrid Cold. And Tanya Derenberger Bowman said that her that right up until her death, right up until her dying moments, she continued her father's research. That right up until her dying days, she continued her right up until the point she realized she realized she was dying. She continued her father's research into the Indrid Cold, into who Indrid Cold may have been. And Little Critter believes that the Indrid Cold case is like Little Critter believes like that Indrid Cold Little Critter believes that Indrid Cold Little Critter basically believes that whoever Indrid Cold that Little Critter believes that Indrid Cold was a classic case of a man in black that was not entirely human. Yeah. But little critters always believed that. That's what little critters always believed, is that Indrid Cold may have been, that this Indrid Cold character may have been like a man and was essentially a man in black that was not entirely human, but was more alien in nature, was more alien in appearance. Huh. Yeah. Not natural. Definitely not natural. That's new. Like, I wonder what's buried there. Trust me, I'm watching Scott. I'm watching Scott, bro.